Hey, Charles, how's it going? And Tim's here.
It's
Great.
good.
Yeah, I thought might show you this dream I had real quick. Hey, Tim, how's it going? I don't have no idea where we are on dreams or who's next or whatever. I'm just going to show you this dream I had because it was pretty good. No, I can't tell you what it means right at this point, but I drew a picture of it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Well, of course, my father is my grandfather was a butcher and a meat cutter, and of course, I worked in his shop for quite a while, and until I stopped working there in like the mid '70s. So, but I still have these dreams about it all the time, and I think really what I'm dreaming about is the body, the flesh. Your God is in your body. It's in your flesh. You ignore it. It's either that or the emaciated dogs. And so I am in the meat market that was it was just incredibly rich with meats from all over the world. Huge turkeys. I can just see them. They're just gleaming yellow, huge geese and turkeys everywhere. And then there's also this sausages and these huge tubs of ground meat. But then what was really surprising is then suddenly I see this magical white gazelle and it does 3 dance steps, and so what it was kind of saying to me, I don't know, but that this is your homeland, the body, the embodied, everything that is not in your head, everything below the neck, that is your homeland. In fact, here is our representative, this magical dancing white gazelle, which was covered with these red tufts, and of course, I was just talking with Gary. One thing we learned is that this is the only religious experience we really have if we make it into our myth, but if we just let them go by like unopened letters, we have to, just drawing it like this, for me, I'm not that great of an artist, but is an act of imagination. It really is. So anyway, I had some other good ones too, but what I've been doing. Make sure I don't drink caffeine, read a fairy tale before bed, I take melatonin, and I think it's B6. B6 is supposed to help you remember your dreams.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I don't know, but it seems to work. Of course, I was doing all kinds of vacationing and everything. Right now, I'm in Minnesota. How are you doing, Charles? Are you there? Take some.
Yeah. It always takes a minute. I'm good. I just worked 60 hours this past week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Piling up money.
Yeah, I got a small raise too.
Fabulous. That must mean they like you.
Yeah, they do. One of the upper management guys, who's the main upper management person who's involved in the actual kitchen, says a lot of good things about me. I don't know, just cooking.
Well, it's a good time to network. Seriously,
Mm-hmm.
You can get to know people. That's the one thing. Don't sit in your room all the time. This is a chance to get to know people, and you never know who you're going to meet. And that you're going to find the person who's going to open up so many doors for you. But not if we just sit in our room. Let some synchronicities occur. The synchronicities don't occur if we just sit in our room. And you're coming from the master at sitting in a room. Is me.
Yeah, I still sit in my room quite a bit. I got a guitar the other day. But yeah, I've been having the craziest deja vus recently, and they're very, very intense. Um, and they're the type of deja vus where I'm like, yeah, I definitely dreamed this like two
Oh,
or
yeah.
3, 4 years ago, like 100%.
My
Um,
wife just had a deja vu 2 seconds ago. What do you think about deja vus?
um, it's like experiencing um, the same part of your life just at two different times because time's not linear and it's like a fabric that can kind of fold over itself.
Well, I was telling this girl, says, well, how does deja vus work? I don't know. But, the thing, all I know is that we live in time and space, and there is this realm that's giving us these dreams is outside of time and space. Okay. And I heard somebody describe it once, as time is not linear, it's not one moment after another, it's all there. And they said there's like a book that's 600 pages long, and right now you're on page 302, but everything after and everything before is there, and it sometimes, people are always dreaming about things that happen. Of course, we just discount it, but what happens is you become permeable to the totality of time, not just the linear time, but the totality of time, and something seeps in, you know, and this is the idea. Edward Ediger said that he researched a lot of people who had memories of past lives, and he would research them, and there's absolutely no way they could know these details, that someone who did research it found out every one of them was right, and what his theory was is that they became permeable to an archetype. They shared an archetype that person who lived 200 years ago did, and when they experienced something very intensely, all the memories of every person is stored. This is that dream that you are an apple and you are harvested and you're put in the storehouse, and the resonance of your life affects the DNA of every single person that comes after you. This is uh, how the unconscious or the God images evolve, and plus they see ahead. See, that's the other thing. How could anything evolve if it didn't see ahead? How does it fill these niches? Like the honey creepers in Hawaii. You know, there's no bees, there were no hummingbirds, so its beak shape on Hawaii different than all the other honey creepers, so that it could pollinate all of the flowers that grew on Hawaii after had a Krakatoa like experience where there was uh, no plants, no anything, and yet things just flew in from here and there. Pelagic birds would, you know, drop seeds with their droppings, and it just became this fabulous island. But anyway, I don't know how it all works, but my
Well,
wife just.
are you going to finish your dream?
Oh, well, I mean, did you want to? I mean, there isn't that much more to it unless you have any thoughts about it. I mean, I don't
What's
know. I might have it in the chat here real quick.
The metaphor that kind of strikes me with that is like the word made flesh.
Yes, exactly. I mean, it's the whole idea is I've always had these dreams, and I was always wondering why I had them, and now I through the cranial sacral therapy, I really started to have more of them, and so I knew it was that the body basically is my wisdom. I mean, it's my God. This is where my God resides. But let me just put it in here. There isn't that much to it, I think, other than that. But what the most amazing thing about it was this white gazelle. Not only the white gazelle, but these huge turkeys and geese that were just so fabulously rich. I mean, they were not, they may have been 35, 40 pound, uh, turkeys or geese, and they're just all over the place, and sausages and meats of every kind. And, just, it was like this absolute wonderful storehouse of the flesh of the body. These are the metaphors for my own body that is unbelievably rich. My own body is unbelievably rich. And not only is it unbelievably rich, but it has a spirit magician in it. And yet it's not a person. I mean, the wisdom of that realm, that homeland that lies below my neck, is the white gazelle with the red tufts, and it's a dancing gazelle, it, boom, boom, boom. It does, these 3 dance steps. And I mean, it was very vivid too. I don't know, Gary, did you, I mean, I'm
I
not
mean,
saying, I don't know
it's,
much more about it than that.
yeah, I mean, to me, it's like, it's talking about the riches of the flesh.
Mhm.
And the gazelle, I mean, that it does a dance, that to me is like, it's the connection to the earth and spirit at the same time. So it's like, normally you would think, I don't know, you wouldn't think of all this with a meat store, but with this one, it's like, just because of the incredible variety from all over the world, to me, it's like saying, there are so many experiences available through the flesh, through that
and
experience.
and and the joy in it. There is this statement: what is the highest yoga? Boga is yoga. Delight is the highest form. Delight and joy is the highest form of religion. Because why does this does this why do we have bowerbirds and all these fabulous mandrills on the baboons and these unbelievable beauty? What Robinson Jefferson called, um, he called it uh, divine superfluous beauty that you find everywhere.
Right,
It
right.
is godly, and it was unnecessary, and yet it's here. How did that happen? And they also say that the secret of creation is lila, play. And that's on that stone that the the orphan stone. There's tells about that life is some kind of a play or a game,
Mm.
that occurs. But and also and I think this is absolutely true, because this is the form our dreams take. The Jews had a saying that God created life because he loves a story. Okay. He loves pathos. He loves joy. He loves, there's all this access. But what Agnella Yaffe said one time, that we don't really learn anything from joy and from delight. It's more of this goal for us. But the only way we get to it, to this, that why we are so attracted by it, is because of the disappointments of suffering and suffering and loss are the world we live in. And yet the idea is, don't center yourself in suffering and loss. and realize that there's also this. You know, they say suffering and loss is not a negation of life. The fact that we're going to die is not a negation of life. You know, that while we are alive, every single moment is one of a dance. Well, isn't that what Shiva does? You know, Shiva the dancer. And how about these beautiful, you know, Indian dancers and Japanese dancers, and you know the who are the? I mean, everywhere you go, there's these this wonder of dance and of rhythm. You know, rhythm in art, rhythm in music, rhythm in everywhere. I mean, the idea of drums and I don't know, even metered poetry. You know, I mean, I don't know. It's just to me, it's the riches of being alive. Here's the riches of being alive. And by the way, here's the master of that realm. And he does the dance for you. And he says, this is the secret, the mystery that you're seeking right here. Boom, boom, boom. You know, but it has to do not with this, but with, you know, I think one thing, one guy told me to do a lot is to camp out, you know, sleep outside under the stars, you know, and just, I don't know. The whole idea is to experience life without words. You know, I mean, I don't know. But anyway, that this was one of these dreams that was just very elemental. You know, there wasn't any speech in it really. You know, it's just an elemental dream.
You know, I guess the other interesting aspect about this is like, you know, when I'm doing the Kali meditation, you know, it's like I'm trying to get out of the head, you know, and like at one point I try to move down into like the root chakra, and just because it's you know, and I certainly can't always do it, but just because it's such a different experience, and you know, and you always, you know, we know that you know, moving out of the head and into the heart is, you know, for how we perceive, how we feel, how we respond is, you know, is one of the big goals.
But and you know, that's one thing Jordy was talking about when he didn't like the way they were dissing Freud and Adler, and he was talking about how important power is and sex. But you know, they're both in the outer world, and they're joys. But if you just experience them without purpose or meaning, where Jung is in the fourth chakra, you know, he's in the realm of the heart. Now, that is the one that just borders upon the timeless world of the fifth chakra, the sixth chakra, and the seventh chakra, that don't happen in time and space. You know, so it's the heart is where Jungian psychology resides. That's at the borderline between here and it's the level of transformation. Now, Jung said we'd never get beyond that, but I think in Europe, but I think the idea in Europe is that this alchemical myth and the Grail myth is that you become the empty vessel for the images of your dreams, and you are now the walking tabernacle of all the dreams that you ever had, if you can make them your personal myth. And now you have your own religion, you know. And that was what Jung said was the task of tasks, is to find out by what myth you are living. Now, also, Tim, I think, and you might want to say something about this, but this is the anima. It's both the anima and the mother realm. This realm of the fabulous, unending realm of the fleshly world, and then the magic gazelle. I mean, this to me is an anima dream, but it's so elemental. And your dreams, you know, the one about the wolf and the animals. I mean, that was similar to the gazelle dream, I think.
Yeah.
There's the idea of this this is the anima realm. This is the mother realm, you know. But the idea of the wolf is she's the devourer. He is the devouring aspect of the devouring mother, or he could also be the the killing word of the conscious attitude, the conscious attitude that wants to kill this you know, the land of renewal and the land of the feminine, you know, which I think came up at least in 3 dreams. You might mention another one, but the one with the house of 4 women, the crazy woman dream, and then the one of the going to the play at midnight and going to rehearse at midnight. All 3 of those had that aspect of we're not of the wolf, the husbands, and then the 2. Now the wolf can be a creature of either the conscious attitude of the controlling aspect of logos, or it can also be something to do with the devouring mother, and we don't really know which it is. But what it really represents is the abyss of death. You know, it represents this killing thing, you know, and this ravenous beast, you know. But anyway, hey Roy,
Hi.
how's it going?
Yeah, I forgot. It was
Oh well,
my-
that's okay. I mean, it's no problem. I'm up here in Minnesota. I just was showing them a dream, but I could just show you the picture real quick.
Because I'm
What's
really
that?
curious about the gazelle with the
Yes,
trim. What do you
yeah.
think?
There you go. The white gazelle with the red trim. Let me see if I can find that again. Let's see here. This is it.
It's,
This
it's
was
almost
the
like a Ferrari with racing stripes or something.
yeah. It's you know, the white gazelle with the red trim that I saw in this magical place of the meats of all the world, you know, and they were just you just felt like you were in a divine place there, and a divine place um, of 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 the ways of preparing. I mean, just these aspects that have to do with body. You know, they're animal flesh, animal protein, and I'm animal protein. And then I see it as just and there are these 2 elves that are running it, you know, and then this thing occurs, dancing, you know, like and with 3 steps. 3 steps are important too, but the red tuft is the feeling function, you know. The red tuft is the feeling function. The white aspect is to me now of course I don't know, I you know, this is just off the top of my head. And you know, one thing I noticed too, Tim, in your dream where you saw the the parking attendant who showed you his genitals, which just totally repulsed you. You know, I was trying to find some. You know what I did absolutely wrong in that dream, and it was horrible interpretation. Was I didn't. There was no aspect of me recognizing the emotional aspect of that. See, every dream has an emotional aspect. And if you noticed, when I was going into what the phallus meant, I was totally ignoring the emotional aspect that you were experiencing. And this is very typical of people who don't have red tufts on their white gazelle. So it's an animal being. It's a being of the mother. It's white, which represents a kind of a spiritual realm, but it's covered with the feeling function. You know, it is accented by the red tufts. you know, so it's and it dances. But anyway, Roy, that was the dream I had just a couple days ago. I just had time to draw the picture, and what a you know, that's what I really call. I'm saying that this to me is our religion, our you know, that if we really take it seriously and we do these things all the time, what happens is the other side comes closer to us, and we come our center of gravity comes closer to them. And that's what individuation means, is to become less separated, to become and to become undivided. You know, this is divided. As we approach the middle plane, we become less divided. I don't think you'll ever, while you're alive, be totally undivided. But anyway, why don't we jump into some dreams, either Tim or Charles or Roy or anybody that's, Roy, did you have any comments about it?
No, you posted it on Facebook. I was curious how you were going to interpret it. But,
Well, how
yeah.
would you interpret it? I mean, one of the things Gary said that was very interesting was I didn't even comment on, was the red tufts and then the dance that what do you think, Roy?
Well, it's such a contrast. It's almost like when a unicorn appears. You know, it's just people just scratching their head. I mean, that thing's not even supposed to exist, and it's so contrasted to all the meat and stuff. It just defies rationality. You know, it's just, this is the language of the unconscious, which is just so alien. I mean, I don't know what it means, but you can tell that whoever put this together wasn't human.
No, it's very elemental, very surprising. And the thing about the meats, the realm of the meat, it was so it was not ordinary. It was not an ordinary, all these meats were just radiant. They just shine. I can see them right now, you know, particularly these great big poultry things, the poultry. I wanted to show you, I was just trying to look for this.
Well, that makes it numinous. You know, everything was numinous.
Yeah, there was nothing about it that wasn't magical, but I just wanted to show you this one thing about delight is the highest form of religion. And just wanted to show you this one thing that I always thought was so great. If I can get it up here. Let's see if I can get it up. Darn it. Let's see. I've got this really weird internet here. Oh, okay, it's downloading here. This was what Jung said about creation. It seems like half the world was made by an engineer and the other half by a foolish poet. You know, isn't that beautiful? That's from Visions. But I mean, you look at the birds of paradise, and that is a flower. You know.
Yeah, I've seen those. People grow them down here. Lipstick plant.
Yeah, and then look at these. What are they? 1, 2, 3, 4.
That's bamboo.
Pentagon. Well, yeah, I mean, is that 1, 2?
Yeah, it's bamboo.
4, 5. Well, it's a honeycomb.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you mean up here?
Bamboo.
Yeah, the segmented
honeycomb. Yeah.
Yeah, the segmented
hexagon.
plants of the
bamboo.
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 That grows in like no time at all. Now, I mean, this is just the you know, and it was like the seaweed.
The strange thing about bamboo, it all blooms all over the world at the same time. How does that happen? Somehow it communicates, and all the bamboo in the world blooms at the same time.
Yeah, and have you ever seen how trees will form? They don't grow beyond the tree next to it. They don't go like this. They will stop where the other tree stops, and so they have sort of a compromise that they are going to. I mean, you know, what is it that the world is something? What is that Shakespeare that there's things that we don't know, or I forget how it goes. You know, it's some line from Shakespeare, but anyway.
Yeah.
How about, does Tim or Charles or Roy have a dream that they want to talk about? How about you, either Tim or Charles, whoever could put it in chat first?
Well, I tried to paste one in the chat. It didn't work. So
Okay, well, why don't you email it to me real quick?
yeah, it's got a drawing with it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And okay, let me see if I can get it real quick here.
It's a very, very strange one that's quite different from everything else.
Okay, well, you know, the last dream was strange. And you know, I think the thing is that you had a very tight thematic going there for quite a while. And I think it's saying these aren't working. You know, we need to take another.
I've had a couple of dreams that kind of continue the series, but they seem so so kind of obvious that
Yeah, I mean, these last two dreams have been just incredible. What is it? My glasses are so dirty, I can't get this. Let's see. It ends out where there's something shut off. Is that, where does that come here? Disappear. I stand near some gas handles. Oh, yeah, there isn't much left. It was just this last four words. Okay. But then I need to realize, there we go. So we didn't miss too much of it. And then, of course, you have the, let me see, there's an image. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put the ending in here in the dream. And my glasses are so dirty. Okay, there we go. Okay, well, why don't you go ahead and read it, Tim. And Charles, get ready with one when you're done. We're done. Go ahead, Tim.
so this is called precision airwork. I'm hiking on the side of a mountain when I watch in fascination as a couple of fighter jets take off from a nearby airport. And with them is what looks like a tower or pieces of a tower that also takes off horizontally with jet engines pushing them through the air. The jets are accompanying the tower and they fly in a wide circle around the valley, finally coming back toward me. And then they slow and seems like they turn into helicopters or something, but the tower starts to dangle because it's suspended from one of them maybe. And then it's just suspended over this tube that has been sunk down into the earth. They cut the cable and the tower just falls and disappears into the tube. I'm standing here, a bunch of guys with hard hats who are workers talking about this project. I apparently know them well enough to interrupt them and say, how the hell did they engineer that, you know, to just drop this thing right smack into the tube? I forget what the answer was, but momentarily, some of us have to go down to the bottom of the mountain. They've given me some dark glasses that I take off and hand to them and say, do you want these here or down below? And they say, it doesn't matter. So I'm about to go down with one of the guys. And then I realize I need to shut off equipment of a band that I've been playing with on a stage nearby.
Wow. That
And
is.
I sent an image along with it.
Yes. Okay. Let me see if I can get that up here real quick. All right. Let's see. There we go.
But there's no women in this one.
Yeah. I mean, it is, and it is kind of reminds me of a Dawn Marie type dream. Let me see here. Is that, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, can you describe the drawing for us?
So up where your cursor is on the top right is the planes taking off with this big tower. And then they circle around, and to the left, you see the tower dangling above this tube that's sunk in the earth. And they just cut that cable and it drops, disappears into the tube.
Okay. Now, oh, they're pulling, is the jets pulling the cable or the tower
Well,
on the cable?
it seems to me that the tower has its own engine.
Okay, well, then what is the cable attached to?
Must be one of the planes. I think they turn into helicopters or something.
Okay,
They
all
somehow
right.
slow down and hover.
Yeah, somehow that's how it got up, but then it was positioned. That's why the planes are accompanying it. Because they're helping to position it to
Yeah,
go into the earth. So we have a tower, see, now, first of all, we're up high on the mountain. This is something about the spiritual aspect needs to go into the depths, I think. I mean, I'm just, just jumping to conclusions here real quick. But let me go through it really quickly because I think I'd spend too much time. Okay, we're hiking on the side of a mountain. Okay, now this is about of course, you live in the mountains. That's your landscape of your homeland right now. But there's been a lot of mountain dreams lately, and so we actually have kind of a good seat to see this. We're not down in the valley. We're up and have an overview, and we watch in fascination as this, now there's three things, correct? There's two jets
Well,
and one tower.
I thought there were two parts of the tower, but all I remember dropping in was one tower.
Okay. All right. Well, let's say there's two towers and two jets, correct?
Maybe three jets.
Three jets. Okay. Three jets and two towers. The jets are accompanying the tower. They're guiding it. And they fly in a wide circle around the valley, finally coming back towards me, and then they slow. The tower is lifted and allowed to dangle vertically. So now all this is happening in the upper, that area that is separated from Earth. And remember, the area that's separated from Earth allows us this ability to look down from 5,000 feet and detect patterns that we otherwise couldn't detect. I mean, this is, I really think what spirit means is to give us an overview that we wouldn't otherwise have, which actually allows us to have meaning, because down in the valley, we don't have the overview. So the pattern is not as visible to us. So there's a more imminent world there. It's a world closer to the earth. And yet that's that imminent wisdom is important too. But anyway, this is this upper world. And now the tower, of course, represents something to do with the masculine realm. It's actually has something to do with a very, it's this vertical thing that sits in the earth. It's totally straight. It does have that phallic aspect, but I mean, basically, it is a place to get an overview on the earth. And it is taking this ability to have an overview on the earth, and it is positioning it to go into the depths. So the ability to have this great overview, there is an aspect of a seemingly purpose in this realm of having the overview that we are not, we do not possess the secret. We need to take our tools and descend into the depths if we are to progress or evolve. Then it's lowered at one point, the cable is cut, its connection to the upper world is cut, and it descends, it becomes, and remember, when we're up in the air, we're separated from the earth. It's now going to become part of the earth, and it descends into the earth. It descends into the ground, a hole, a place that was prepared for it. And disappears. It reminds me of this one dream that Young had, or that someone had right after Young died. And just, what do you need? I'm doing a class right now. I'll be out in a little bit. Got all the grandkids here. But anyway, it was right after Young died, and everyone is wearing these suits that are green in front and black on the back. Okay, and Young is wearing one. This is right after he died, and this woman notices everybody is wearing one, and then she sees in the black, there's a big black wall there, and there seems to be a hole in it that is shaped like a person. Young walks up to it, steps into the pattern, and disappears. Now, what Marie-Louise Monfrance says is that the unconscious is like the event horizon on a black hole. You know, in other words, light cannot escape the gravity of the black hole. So it has what's called an event horizon, and nothing that's inside the black hole can come out of the event horizon. So Young walked into that place where now he's not accessible anymore. But this is not the same, but it just reminded me of it, that the tower, that our maybe even our obsession with the overview, which is the masculine realm, needs to descend into the earthly realm of the mother, you know. So now, isn't that, let me just finish. So then we're standing here, some guys in hard hats, we're working, and I know them well. How the hell did the engineer, Dad? We didn't forget the answer. We forgot the answer, but then we have to go down the mountain. And I've been given some dark glasses that I have been given some dark glasses that I handed them and said, do you want these here or down below? And now, okay, what does that mean, Tim?
Your guess is as good as mine.
Okay, I've been given some dark glasses that I hand to them and that say, do you want these here or down below? And they say it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it almost feels to me like they're glasses like you look at the
sun with, you know,
yeah,
a solar eclipse or something.
Something like that, because why would I return them otherwise?
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, those, apparently we needed them for this exercise. I don't know, but I'm just, I'm not saying that's connected, but I'm just guessing. Then I'm going to go down with one of the guys and then down the mountain. And then I realize I need to shut off the equipment of a band I've been playing. Now, this is just beautiful. You know, I don't know how it's connected with the dream, but in all of this amazing thing, what are we doing in the outer realm? We're playing music, you know, and we need to go shut off. I mean, the whole thing is just beautiful. I mean, right now, I mean, I'm not near to anything, but I just like that last line. Gary, what do you think of it, of the dream? I mean, just, to me, it's very,
the whole thing seems to center around the tower. And the tower, this is like, to me, the tower is, you know, this is like a life's work. This is like, you know, this is what we are building up. And, you know, and the tower is not in its final resting place. So the resting place is elsewhere. And the fighters, the jet fighters, you know, this is like, it's, you know, it's like it's being accompanied with power, you know, and so the tower is accompanied to its final resting place that is, you know, farther up the mountain at a higher elevation. But it's like, it's almost, if the tower represents our work, it's almost like a conscious attitude that is planted in a new place in the ground. So it's like a dramatic change. It's like, and because it's going into a foundation which goes deep into the ground, it's, it represents something with a great deal of substance. Um, and then,
Coagulation.
yeah. Oh, good, good. Yeah, I
We're
like
going to
that.
go from sublimatio to coagulation.
Yeah. And then, and I think that next part, like how do they engineer that, is just the amazement, and the respectful attitude that we're supposed to have towards what took place. So the dark glasses, because this almost is like, witnessing an eclipse. And so, I think there's probably just kind of this, like, just like, wow, you're just kind of overloaded at what you just saw. So this question of, do you use these here or down below, is more like like you're just a little overwhelmed and you don't quite know how to process
You just
what's been
witnessed.
witnessed. You've
You
witnessed
witnessed
something.
the mysterium conjunctionis
Yeah, exactly.
between sky and earth.
Right.
You know?
And
And it's almost like a copulation or something, I mean, a little bit, but it's the divine
right. And shutting off the equipment, to me, this is like, okay, this is something that's done, and we're almost supposed to respect the aftermath. So we're not just supposed to continue on with what we were doing after this has happened. And
Thinking of these, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's what I've gotten so far.
I'm thinking of these beautiful images in like 2001: A Space Odyssey, of these.
Oh yeah, good analogy.
Yeah,
Good analogy.
of these,
The apes.
well, that's one. The black obelisk appears everywhere, and yet it has some relationship with transformation. But I'm also thinking of those beautiful. I was thinking the dark glass aspect is that beautiful when the space station and the other thing dock in outer space, just the wonderful engineering involved, and somehow actually I think maybe what you're wearing are safety glasses or something, I mean, I don't know, involved in this great exercise. But
Or like maybe it represents the unconscious way you should be seeing, not from the logical.
yes, I mean, it's like with this eye I survey the world, and with this eye I survey the universe.
Right.
There's this aspect of these glasses, but yet they say it doesn't matter. Now that is a very important statement. Do you want these here or down below? And this is an extremely profound statement. It doesn't matter. No, I mean, each, almost every line in this dream is just shattering to me. It has a shattering aspect. What do you think, Roy?
Oh yeah, I like what you said, Craig, and Gary too. I don't have too much more to add, but Tim has this theme a lot in the air, mountains and plains and towers, and that's kind of where he's comfortable. It reminds me of when he was contemplating the iceberg, all this stuff that's under the iceberg. So when you have all this lofty stuff and spiritual stuff, there's also great depth to it. Like there's so much more mass below the waterline, and this dream just sort of connects that for me.
Tim, the one thing that just makes me dizzy It's absolutely is dizzyingly to me as far as the image is the tower disappearing into the earth. You know, cut it. There's an aspect of and you know what I like what Gary said about it. It has an aspect of the pinnacle of our life up to this point. I mean, this is the tower our life built. And right now, the tower of our life built, the purpose of it now is to unite with the earth, you know, to become one with the earth, not necessarily to disappear into it, but to become one with it, you know, and the earth is all prepared for us. The earth is ready to accept us. It has the a place to accept the pinnacle of all our work. But the aspect here is to there is an aspect, a very Taoist aspect, you know, that now is the time to become a Taoist, you know, or something like that, to become one with the earth, you know, not be a Confucian or be one who is highly spiritual, but to become one who is one with nature and who is one with the feminine principle and who is one with the even more profound aspect of the body and the earth. You know, I think a lot of these dreams that we've been having, you know, the important thing, the important thing about the feminine is not her sexual attraction. You know, the important thing about the feminine is its wordless grounding in the wisdom of nature. You know, if we become focused on sexual aspects, which are appealing to us because we lack them, you know, yet we can't become focused. I mean, on what's that thing about the finger in the moon, you know? the aspect of her sexual attraction and the orgasm and everything else that's connected with the sexual attraction of women. It's not the point. The point is to recognize the wisdom of the body. Now, see, it's somewhat, to me, the sexual attraction aspect is like the white gazelle, you know. I mean, or the you know, this play, the boga is yoga, you know, or something, you know. But the idea is this wordless. If we cannot get lost in the it's particularly if we become unconscious of it. You know, if a woman walks in this room right now, then she was totally nude, you know, I would go totally unconscious. I mean, I wouldn't know what to, I'd be speechless, you know, and I've lost my connection, my distance. I'm not a witness anymore. I've suddenly become, I went into an unconscious state because I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm lost. I can't tell you what I'm doing, you know. But that's because I've become part of the archetype, you know. But the idea here, and I think the elemental dreams before about the thing was also to de-emphasize the sexual aspect of women, you know, that they're very that is not the point, you know. But anyway, let's hear what Charles says. I'm just saying that's the highest point I think of the thing is to you know, try to I don't know, I'm not very good at doing it. I mean, if I'm in the presence of a beautiful woman, I'm just totally tongue-tied. What do you think, Charles? Do you have any comments about it?
Well, I mean, all the images are like, I don't know, just way up in the air. he's climbing a mountain, planes, tower extends into the air, so everything's in the upper, more spiritual, intellectual realms. And
They trace
I
out
don't
a
know.
mandala too. They do a circle.
Yeah. And I don't know, that somehow it's like that. Well, the tower is the only like image of any sort of dwelling place, and that is being dropped into, I mean, I would call it an abyss. It's deep into the earth. So
Abyss means it does not have, it means bottomless.
yeah.
It means without base.
And then the whole, I don't know, whole point of the dream seems to be a coming down. Definitely. I mean, he witnesses this thing where the tower is dropped down into the earth, and then he is about to descend the mountain. So it's, yeah, I would say that it kind of centers around coming down off of a high place. I think what's really interesting is how he has to turn off the power to the equipment of a band that he's been playing nearby. That's,
After it's
really-
all over. See, I think it's
Yeah.
from that. I think that is a second dream that is following from the first. So that's the second dream that follows from the first. But yeah, it is. So how wide does that follow from the first? Shutting off the equipment, the power.
Yeah.
But-
Well, it's he has to. I would say the image kind of points at him having to, redirect energy. And a band is a sort of, kind of, little creative outlet. But I don't want to say collective. It's a group thing, but not necessarily a collective thing. But yeah, that it he's changing position, and changing his stance where he's coming from, and also shifting what he is giving his power and energy to. But yeah, it's a really, really, really good dream.
Yeah, that last line I say just stands by itself. I'm not sure what it means, but Tim, I just want to, I want to hear what you have to say, but I just wanted to say this. It looks to me as if the unconscious is showing the dream ego what needs to happen. It's showing us what needs to happen. The formal mandala, and then our part of us that's too high needs to descend, become one with the earth. In other words, these things that are undivided need to become one. And that's the part of us that's too high needs to become one with the earth. And it's just, to me, it's just dizzyingly meaningful. I mean, there's just an aspect of it, I just feel a little vertigo thinking about it. What do you think, Tim? Just forget about the band part right now, because I think we need to focus on this before we move to the band part. What does the tower represent? And now it's becoming one with the earth. What does that mean?
Yeah, I think you guys are right on. One thing that I'm thinking about is I've been reading this book by Lou Andreas Salome called The Erotic. And man, she has some fascinating ideas. And one of them has to do with the sexual being something that is not so much personal as we think about it, as being something that forces you into the earth, so that your intellect just is absolutely useless in this conjunctio. And it's to me, it's really parallel to religion, or to religion and art, that your intellect just is of no use in this situation. So I'm thinking about it kind of in terms of a hierus gamos. So you've got the phallic symbol that starts out in a horizontal position, gets powered up, ends up vertical, and then disappears into the earth. You know, it's just a really sexual image. But it also occurs to me that it's an antiadromia.
Enantiodromia. Yeah.
Antiadromia, yeah, because the, you know, this incredibly advanced technological magical thing that is way beyond my ability to even comprehend. It gets designed and put in place, and all of it is just absolutely supremely well done, kind of like putting a helicopter on Mars.
Mhm.
And then it all disappears into the earth. And to me, that is almost like the launching of a new chapter. What is going to come out of that? Because you've got those two opposites that all of a sudden are together.
Yeah, I mean, well, it really it does, the aspect of where it is, you know, has to do with the sexuality aspect too, needs to be thought of. You know, what is the meaning of sex is not erections and orgasms. Okay, it has that's the physical aspect of it. But what is the symbolical and metaphorical aspect of it? Let's say everything happens in the inner world has nothing to do with orgasms and all that. In the inner world, that meaning is that you and the other have united. Okay, and what is the idea? I think the metaphorical aspect of the orgasm is you're thrown in that moment. You're thrown out of time, and so you've entered the timeless realm. If you really take it seriously in a religious framework, rather than one of licentiousness, let's say, you know, and so to it needs to be objectified, you know. We need to become the witness of it and not the participant, if we're really going to understand the meaning of it. If we are just the participant in it, I mean, the idea is that, you know, we are in the arena, sitting in the stands, and in the arena, we are also there as a participant. Now, this aspect is the one that survives death, you know, and this is the aspect of the life aspect. So the witness has a different point of view than the ones in the arena do, and we are in the arena. But I think the whole idea is, what does the tower mean? It has a phallic aspect, but it also has an aspect of an overview, a high climb to the top of the tower and look around. Now you can see patterns. It has a logos aspect, this aspect of having a high consciousness that brings us meaning. And yet this wonderful thing is being in a circle, in a valley, and now descends and disappears into the feminine realm, and it's gone forever. I mean, at least it's not gone, but it's become one with it. Okay. Now, how is the tower aspect of ourselves become one with the earth? What does that mean?
One other comment here.
Mhm.
You know, he's in the dream, he says, how the hell did they engineer that? Which is
Yeah.
a very much a logos type of thing. But I think the
Yes.
point is that these things only happen by grace, that it's not a logos, you know? And so, you know, it's the, you know, and I think that's part of the wonder of the whole thing that's going on.
Kind of reminds me of Charles asking about telling that woman who says sexu. Oh, that's not how you pronounce it. I mean, there's just this aspect of this. We've just witnessed a miracle, and we want to be explained. What if I just it's the aspect of we just witnessed someone's artwork, and we want the artist to explain it. That's the last person you go to. You know, the person who can interpret the artwork, you need a poet. You need a person who speaks in a different medium, you know, and then they can tell us more about the artwork than the artist can, because they specialize in the visual aspect, maybe not necessarily the lyrical words aspect. Now, I would say Paul Klee and Walter Kandinsky and Franz Marc could do both, you know, but I don't know. Anyway, what I wanted to show you, he mentioned Lou Salome. I just wanted to show she's some kind of a woman, you know. Here she is with Nietzsche. Okay. Well, that wasn't all she did, you know. Here she is with Rilke. You know, she was married to that beautiful poet Rilke for a while, and then
They were never married. She
yeah,
was
they
ma-
were married. Yeah, I mean, she was just this absolutely fabulous woman, and here she is with Young.
She was married to a guy for 40 years that she never consummated the marriage with.
Oh yeah, I didn't know about that. But by the way, Roy, that guy behind Salome is Ferenczi, the one that you are reading about in the book by Kalshed. You know, he quotes Ferenczi quite a bit, but that shorter guy behind her, that's Ferenczi. You know, so anyway. But anyway, I mean, the whole idea is, what does it mean for the tower and the earth to become one? Just what do you think about that now? Now, let's just say, now, first of all, the thing is that the unconscious wants us to witness this. I mean, we're given, it is showing us something. It says, Jim, look at this. This is supposed to be you. And yet it is done in such a mythical fashion. The tower goes down into the and becomes one with the earth. I mean, that is individuation. That is the tower aspect and the earth aspect, which are divided in us, are no longer divided. And we've witnessed it, you know. But now, okay, after that, what happens? Well, we're kind of lost. We don't really know what's going on. We hand back the glasses. We don't even seem to have much. The only thing is we're fascinated by is the technological efficiency of whoever did it, and that's sort of a husband statement, you know, of in the Crazy Woman Dream. It's sort of this husband statement, you know, and it is what, you know, rather than asking that, you say, what's the purpose of this? What is it? What's it mean? But now, okay, we've got that all happen, and then we say we have to go back and let's read it because I need to read it. Let's see, what does it say here? Oh, here it is. I got it right here. it says, I'm going to go down with one of the guys, but then I realize I need to shut off the, so all this time that we've been up in the mountain, this happened, that the equipment of a band you've been playing with on a stage nearby, is the band still playing there? No. So they all went home, but we left the amplifiers on and all of that stuff. So they,
or something.
yeah. So this is another part of us which has been seemingly neglected during all this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we need to go shut it off. But I think the one thing here is it also reminds me of the fact that that time that woman goes up to the Spiritus Rector and we don't follow her. You know, what was the reason for not following her? Do you remember?
Oh, I think I was sure that I would be rejected again.
Yeah, okay. But you thought you should have followed her.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
Right.
You know, so I think there's an aspect here of you've just witnessed the Spiritus Rector and that woman becoming one within you. You know, and you're the witness of it. I mean, there's just this, it's just absolutely beautiful to have a tower and the earth become one. You know, not now usually what we see is the missile coming out of the silo and going up. You know, this doesn't see it. I don't know. I don't know whether it's what would be if that was the image. What would it mean if the missile went back down into the earth? You know, but I don't know. It's a tower, not a missile. You know, although it had a jet engine in it.
Right.
Yeah. Gary or Roy, do you have any more comments? I mean, this is one, Tim, don't you think we need to sleep on? Let's look at let's see if we can look at the photo one more time. Do you have any more comments about it, Roy or Charles? Or
Well, for me, I mean, it's very powerful how these processes are going on that we're totally unaware of. I mean, a lot of times when you're rational, intellectual, it's just a veneer, but there's these primitive, archaic processes that are going on. You know, they're instinctual, and we can like witness them, but they're so strange. But the most fascinating thing is they actually run our lives, but we're not aware of it.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead, Tim.
Well, that's just a really good point. There's so much going on behind the scenes. Another thing that occurs to me is you know, I have the kind of absolute, you know, I'm so stunned by the technology of this thing. I'm just absolutely flummoxed by it. It's very similar to, you know, an old guy walking up to a little kid and watching him on the cell phone and just being absolutely amazed that, you know, they can communicate across the world or something. You know, how the hell did you do that? There's a way in which our body works the same way. How does the heart know to pump every second?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless.
Yeah, it just shows how pitiful this linear awareness is that we have. Just this, we can only hold one thought in a row, and it has a certain half-life, and then it starts to decay, and then another one comes in, and that's about all we do. But you know, there is a consciousness that never does that. It is not linear. It has it has this totality of everything, keeps track of everything all at the same time. You know, I still think it is absolutely impossible for a cell phone to work. How did they come up with that? I mean, it's absolutely genius. It's just fabulous. Well, anyway, why don't, there's more to this dream, so let's try to address it next time. I mean, let's try to think about it, but I thought maybe Charles Could you introduce a dream at least? I'm not saying we've solved this one, Tim. You can't, nobody can say that, but all I know is dizzyingly meaningful. I don't know, you could say profound, but I prefer the word meaningful. This means something. I don't know what it means, but I know it means something, and it is showing us something. Charles, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
here.
Okay, did you have a dream that you want to just talk about?
Yeah. Not really sure which one, but you know what? I will I'll bring up this one. Um um sorry. Well, okay, yeah, let's do this one.
Okay. He
So-
doesn't really have access to text, but I will put this in text for us next time. Go ahead.
So I was at my cousin's wedding and no one was there that I recognized. So I felt uncomfortable. At least there was no one I recognized other than my friend Michael. I didn't have a suit, so I could not attend the ceremony or be the best man. Just generally felt sort of awkward. There was a girl there that I mistook for Nicole from Russell's, which is where Molly works. She was another server. And I went into the house further, and someone recognized me. And I at first thought it was my cousin's best friend, Joe. But as I got closer, it turned out to be someone completely different, and I had no idea who they were. Just another stranger. And though they had said that they had seen me before in a class that they took, but I didn't know what they were talking about. And so I continued through the house to the back porch because there was a really good view of the skyline. We were in some city downtown somewhere. And I was just looking out at the city and I said, where are we? I feel very excluded. So I just jumped off the balcony down to the street. And there were a couple people down there, and I just walked past them into some building. I really wanted to be alone, but there were a bunch of people around. And to my left, there was an exhibit on ancient Egypt that I had seen before. I did not want to go there again. But I wound up over there and I talked to some lady who was kind of heavy set. And she came over to me complaining of an injury. But it was just some minor cut on her hand. And that sort of annoyed me. We then started talking about an old CD-ROM video game demo while I was sifting through old Game Boy games. And a bunch of them were old Pokemon games. Yeah, that's the dream.
Okay. All right. Well, let's get, we don't have much time, but we'll at least get it started on it. And why don't, I'm just going to go through it again and I will put it in text for us for the next time. But you're at your cousin's wedding. Now, everybody there is unknown to us. We're uncomfortable because we don't know anyone. It's just this, the only one that would maybe our friend Michael, was he there? And was he was he interacting with us or?
He was there, but I didn't talk to him.
Okay, you didn't talk to him. Now, here's something, the interesting part. We didn't have a suit, so we couldn't be in the ceremony, and we couldn't be the best man. What does that mean? Did it mean that if we had a proper persona, now remember that Anna, that mother figure, said when you were running on all fours and you see this beautiful woman and she asks you, do you like this woman? And you say, yes. And she says, well, if you do, you're going to need a new suit and some new clothes, you know. Now, the idea there was that you do not have, according to the mother, an adequate persona to interact with the outer world. That's what she seems to be saying in that point. Now, I don't know what she's saying here, but the idea here is, now, when did you have this dream?
This was on May 21st.
May 21st. So just maybe a month ago. Okay.
This was actually the same night that I had the dream about the hamster with the red and yellow eyes.
Wow. This is really an amazing recall too. Okay, so anyway, do you know what it means that you could have been the best man, but you didn't have a suit, so you weren't?
No, I just didn't have the proper attire. That's all I know. I was
Okay, all right. But
street
why
clothes.
why did you even mention the best man? I mean, is that
I-
just, you don't know?
no.
Okay. Now, there was a girl that you mistook for Nicole. So there seems to be, this happens several times, that you see someone who looks, now Nicole worked at Russell's where the love of your life used to work, Molly, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And so you mistook her for Nicole, but she's not Nicole. She's just someone who looks like Nicole, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then, so that doesn't, so it was just, you recognized them, thought it was Nicole, thought you saw somebody you knew. It wasn't her. So again, you were disappointed. There's nobody there, you know. Okay. So then you go into the house and someone recognizes you, but you don't recognize them. Now you thought it was Joe, but it's not. Now see, that's the second time that happened. That there's seeming some connection with people you do know, but no, there's no relatedness there at all. They just have bring up things in that. So it wasn't Joe. And now he says that you took a class with him before, but you have no recollection of it.
Mhm.
So this is very mysterious, this complete, the fact that this complete, the unknown aspect of these characters. So then you go to the back porch with this view of the skyline, a beautiful view, and you say, where are we? You don't know. So now you're going to ditch the whole thing. You jump off the balcony into the street. You don't want to be in amongst all these people. You're sort of forced by avoiding the people into an ancient Egyptian exhibit, which you've been to before. You don't want to see it again. And there you see a sort of a rudimentary mother figure, this sort of heavy set woman. I'm assuming she's fairly old, right? Not much older than you are, right?
No, I don't know, a little bit older than me.
Not too much, but she's just heavy set. And so now you start talking to her about computer games. right? What was the thing?
Yeah, we
about-
we were talking about like how back in, the 90s, like, you could get a video game demo on a CD-ROM, and that seems so, it just kind of seemed funny looking back on it, because now you just access the internet and download it. While before you would get, a CD-ROM in like a magazine, like a video game magazine, and pop it in the PlayStation.
Mhm.
And we were just kind of reminiscing about old vintage video game technology.
Well, all of this whole thing, the whole dream seems to be just this tangential, one-pointed intersection with life, and sort of us, Tim, it reminds me of your dream where you're going through the house and nobody sees you or something. You remember that dream? Well, what does anybody? Why don't we just? Anybody got a couple sentences from each person about it, and we'll finish it later. What do you think, Tim? Just your first impression.
For some reason, I'm thinking about the ancient Egyptian exhibit. It kind of feels to me like there's something about that culture that that is being resisted. And I can't think of what it might be, but that's had such a powerful impact on human history. Why is it coming up again? And why is this resistance against it?
Yeah.
And then also the part about jumping into the street from this higher up location. It's like, I want to get back into the hustle and bustle of life or something, rather than whatever's elevated, intellect or a loftier point of view, or being separated from society or something like that.
Yeah, Von Franz says these kind of dreams are very important because they don't have a lysis. There's no resolution to them, but they're still important. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, he's had these dreams where he needed to change his clothes or something to go to an event. He didn't have a suit, so that's interesting. He needs the persona to relate. He thinks that he needs a persona, a new persona to relate. And to me, everything hinges around that. That's his idea in his head, that this persona isn't in him. It hasn't materialized. If he could just get it, like a new suit of clothes that was appropriate for the event, he's kind of stuck there.
So he can't participate.
Right.
That's the whole problem. That's why he can't interact with the woman that he met on all fours. Gary, do you have a couple comments, and then we'll finish? We're going to revisit Tim's dream, and then we'll finish Charles' dream, and then maybe Roy or Gary, if you got one. Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, I think what Roy said about the persona is right on, because he could have been the best man, which would have been a very important function. And we know that, a lot of our work is learning how to relate, getting into the feeling function. Relating is everything, that is kind of the unification. Instead, he abandons and, he jumps into the street. But this isn't the road less traveled. This is the road he's been on before. Where does it take him to? It takes him back to, I think, the terrible mother. It's kind of like this intellectual construct that, and what does he discuss? Video games, so it's not some new feeling or some way of perceiving, something in the ancient world that maybe he can bring forward. It's the modern world taken back there, which just kind of destroys any interesting context which it might have had. So, I think it's just one of those dreams of like, work on your feeling function, your relating,
Yeah, Roy's so good at picking the important part. The lack of persona, we can't participate. So then we dropped down in the street. We got the choice between the mythical world of Egypt and computer games, and accompanied by the heavyset woman who does sort of represent the devouring mother a little bit. So that's what happens because we didn't have a persona. We kind of gravitate off into the devouring mother world, and the anchoring part was the ancient Egypt, and we just ignored that. Well, anyway, we'll finish this one, and we'll start with reviewing Tim's dream, and hopefully we have some more thoughts about it and think about it. And then Roy and Gary, take some melatonin and read a fairy tale. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys all next time. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye, guys. Okay. Bye, Charles.